Hi everyone, Rachel Nard here. This is Kettlebells Made Easy. Today is lesson 10, where we will cover how to structure a basic week of strength work. And again, this is the 14-day fast track for beginners. So I hope you've enjoyed the course so far. We got a little bit into intensity in yesterday's lesson and why it is so important. So once you have that, we are going to put together how to create a basic week of strength. So if strength is your primary goal, one thing that we've found to be very successful is looking at a few different factors. So the first one is frequency, meaning how often are you going to train specifically strength work. The second is intensity, which you should be familiar with. So what weights are you going to be using for these sessions to primarily focus on strength? And volume. So how many reps are you going to be doing of each exercise across a week or a given month? Because all of our plans are 4 weeks in duration. And then kind of an extra detail would be the distribution and what exercises exactly you'll be doing. So we're going to go through a basic plan today, and I'm going to break it down for you and talk about it. So first, with frequency, we like to try and aim for 2 to 3 days of strength focused work. If you're only doing 1 day, it's going to be harder to see results over the long term. They could happen, but it'll take a lot longer. Sometimes if you're training strength 4 or 5 days, you're just really not giving yourself enough time to recover specifically from that work. It doesn't mean that you can't train conditioning on the other days. Most of our plans for ourselves and our clients are somewhere between a total of 5 and 6 days a week. However, just 2 to 3 of them are solely focused on strength. The intensity, again, for strength-based plans, we focus on 5 to 8 RM weights. So this means something that you could do for an all-out set of 5. Hopefully you found out what that was. And then most likely, if you found that number, your all-out set of 8 will be 1 bell size down. So if you can do an all-out set of 5, double kettlebell front squats with double 24s, most likely you can do 8 reps with double 20s. If you have 22 kilo or increments that are closer together, that's even better, but most of the kettlebells are between 2 and 4 kilo apart. So depending on what you have, you'll be able to guesstimate what weight you should be using. So again, focusing on 5 to 8 RM weights. And we do like to use something called reps in reserve. So you probably heard this if you're in the fitness world, but reps in reserve just means I'm using the weight that I could do an all-out set of 5, but I'm going to leave a little bit left in the tank so that I'm not going to extreme fatigue every single set. So generally, if we are doing a set with a weight with our 5 RM, we're only going to do somewhere between 1 and 4 reps every set until we reach our total volume for that session. With the 8 RM, similar thing. We generally only do somewhere between 2 and 6 reps with our 8 RM weight. And we repeat that either just randomly or in some sort of ladder format, meaning you're ascending the number of reps you're doing every set until we reach our total for the day. In terms of volume, we found because you're generally working with heavier weights, really only working about 10 to 40 reps per skill per session will really help you get the job done. It'll help you get stronger, and it'll also allow you to really recover well from these sessions and incorporate conditioning work into it or another sport or another hobby without getting too burnt out. In terms of the distribution, we're going to go back to talking about patterns. So you guys should be familiar with patterns. Lower, upper press, upper pull. In these more basic plans, they are structured to hit all of the patterns each time. So the plan that I'm going to show you is just training 2 days a week, and you're doing all 3 patterns both times. So you'll be doing lower body, an upper press, and an upper pull both sessions, okay? You could change that distribution if it feels like too much. You could add a day and you could do lower and upper press on one day, lower and upper pull on another, and then you would have a third day that's your extra upper press and upper pull reps. So that is possible, but most commonly we start out with 2 days of strength and we are repeating those skills on both days, just different volumes, so different total number of reps. Okay, so without getting into too much nitty-gritty details, when we are structuring a plan for ourselves or our clients, we do it in 4-week blocks. So what we do with that is we determine how many reps am I going to be doing in the total 4 weeks. And from there, we divide it down into the weekly total reps and then the total reps per day. So with the plan I'm showing you, we are starting with a pretty low volume. So we're only doing 150 reps in the 4 weeks for each pattern. So we'll be doing 150 lower body reps, 150 upper pressing reps, and 150 upper pulling reps. For this plan, the lower body, we're working again 5 RM. For this one in particular, we chose front squat, 5 RM front squat, and 8 RM front squat. So day 1, we only have 7 total 5 RM front squats. So in this plan, we are aiming for 2 to 4 reps with that 5 RM weight. So if you have 7, you have a couple different options, but one easy way to get to 7 reps with using a 2 to 4 rep range would be to do a set of 2, a set of 3, and a set of 2, and then you'll be done. Obviously, these weights are a higher intensity. So if you remember, 5 RM is equal to an 85% effort, which is also equal to our heavy zone. So even though it says 7 reps on paper, it does not include your warm-up sets. So you do want to take time, again, just like when you were testing in the intensity lesson, you want to take time to build up to that weight. And then you'll do your heavy sets, then you can back off a little and finish the rest of the medium sets. So for day 1, we only have 6 reps with our 8 RM weight. So you could knock that all out in one set, or because the range is somewhere between 3 and 6, you could do 2 sets of 3 and that would be fine as well. So that's one of the lightest sessions in the month. One of the higher volume sessions, you have 13 heavy or 5 RM squats. So still using that 2 to 4 rep range, you can break that up. So you can do something like 2, 3, 4, right? Which would get you to 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9, and then you would have 4 more to go. So you could do 2, 3, 4, 4. That would be tough, I can tell you from experience. If you're really using that 5 RM weight, 2, 3, 4, 4 is tough. But there's a lot of options to break it up and reach 13, which is your total for the day. And that's where intensity really comes into play. Because sometimes with these beginner plans, people will look at it on paper and say, only 10 reps, that seems easy. Well, again, if you're using the correct intensity, the correct weights for whatever zone, it's going to be hard. So don't worry about things feeling too easy, especially if you're on your first plan. You're really just focusing on getting the weights correct and being consistent and showing up and not changing the plan. So on day 1 of this plan, again, you would do all 3 patterns. So you'll be doing 6 exercises. You could do 3 exercises and just different loads, which is totally fine. So your first 2 would be your squats, 5 RM and 8 RM squat. Then you'll go to your presses, 5 RM press and 8 RM press. Doesn't really matter what type of press you do. I would probably recommend starting with a single arm military press or a double bell military press. Those are both good choices. But if you're looking to build strength, you want to not focus on the ballistics as much at first. So again, day 1 on this plan, pretty low volume, 5 presses in the 5 RM zone. So somewhere between 2 and 4 reps. Again, you'll want to work your way up to that weight. Then you can hit a working set of 2 and a working set of 3, and you'll be good to go. Same thing for the 8 RM press. We only have 8 reps there. So with that, you'll be able to back off because you've already warmed your way up. And you'll come down and you could do a set of 3 and a set of 5. And you'll have hit that 8 for the day. Again, because we're doing all the patterns both days, it is sometimes more beneficial that the volume is lower, because when you're working in these higher intensities, you want to make sure you're resting. So if you are doing a 5 to 8 RM weight, we do recommend taking somewhere between 1 and 3 minutes rest between your sets. Takes ATP about 3 minutes to regenerate within the body. So even if you feel ready, just give yourself that extra minute and promise you'll feel a lot stronger. So you'll round out the session with upper pulling. This plan, we're doing rows, any type of row that you like, bent over row, gorilla row, renegade row, totally fine as long as you get that intensity right. So 5 RM row, we only have 4. You can do 2 sets of 2. 8 RM row, only 6 on that day 1. Again, we fluctuate, so there's something called DUP, or daily undulating periodization. All of our plans fluctuate in the number of reps every day. So you'll never do the same session twice in a month, and possibly month over month. I don't think I've ever done the same plan in the last 5 years. So lots of possibilities for variety here. Even though day 1 is much lower volume, a lot of these plans are skewed towards week 3 or 4, and that's where you'll hit most of the reps in the plan. So work your way into it, get consistent, and month over month, you would be able to accumulate volume. So if you want to learn more about how our plans work, definitely check out our website, trainwithwaves.com, and you can get a glimpse into our training library. We have over 50 plans on there, and any new plans that we add, you would get access to that too. So make sure you check it out. So this is our basic setup for beginner strength plans. So just to recap, frequency, in this case, we're just starting with 2 days a week, but somewhere between 2 and 3. Our intensity, we're focusing on 5 to 8 RM weights. Our volume, just 10 to 40 reps per skill. And you saw actually on day 1 of those plans, it was a little bit under 10 reps, and that's totally fine. The distribution for this plan specifically, we're working all of our patterns both days. So we're doing lower, upper press, and upper pulling on day 1 of the week and day 2 of the week. All right, guys. I hope you learned a little bit about how to structure your strength across a week. If this video helped you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time for lesson 11. Bye.